Hi, Kelly. Welcome back to Revitalized Womanhood.
Hi, Gina.
Did you think that you'd be back here after recording? Did you think to yourself, I'm famous, I'm going to do it again?
I have no idea. I just go with You're so funny. No,
You
I,
just
I
go
knew
with the flow.
I knew I'd be back eventually, but I am not like the utmost importance, and I'm so happy that I get to talk to you about yourself.
Myself. It's yourself, too. It's everybody's opinions.
Oh,
Women,
oh, I
what do
was
we
like,
think?
you're not making me talk.
Technically, it is my hot seat. It
It
is
is,
my hot seat, but
yeah.
you're here for your hot seat, too, I guess.
No.
I know, because I love the first question. How do you and your husband make time for each other? Which actually, this isn't the first question because I answered this one on my own last time. I think Mandy just didn't realize it, so she sent it to us. But
Okay.
how do you and your husband make time for each other, Kelly?
No.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
Let's see. How do we make time? I didn't think of. Is this a prank? Okay. How do we make time for each other? Well, we have to plan far into advance a date night. Mm, honestly, lunch dates are our favorite. That's how we have to slip it into the day when the kids are at school. That's how we make time for each other.
Then that's perfect. It's a
By the time
season.
evening comes,
Nobody wants to do
no,
that.
no, no. And most of our time together is with the kids, but that's okay.
Tell me about it.
I mean, isn't that the whole point? It's like you have
That's why we
children.
had them.
Yeah, and now we're just supposed to like all of a sudden like push them aside and go on a date night? What?
You know, Rick and I get creative. We're always
Yes,
with our kids. We were
yes.
in Europe and we'd been in Europe for 3 months. And because we'd been in Europe for 3 months with our kids, we booked a cruise that left out of Venice and went down like Croatia and into Greece and stuff. We booked a cruise specifically to have babysitters so that we could be away from our kids for a minute
That's
because
amazing.
we'd been with them for so long. And
Yeah,
Rick, being so creative, he's like, I booked a cruise. They have kids club, put them in kids club. Now we can do things on our own.
I
And we
love
didn't
that.
even get off the ship. We didn't even
What?
get off. No, because we had just driven down through all the places where they had stopped and we had driven
Yeah.
through the whole country. So we didn't need to just stop at the port. And so we didn't even get off the ship. Like we got to Greece and we looked at all the people getting, shuttled over. There was thousands of people getting shuttled over and waiting in line to get up the mountain there. And we were like,
Yeah. See ya.
nah, no, we're good. We'll just stay right here on the ship.
Oh, and you knew that your kids were safe because they weren't taking them off the ship, right? Like,
No, yeah, they were just in kids club, just hanging out.
okay, I love that. That's actually the perfect answer for how do you make time for each other. You get
Yeah.
creative.
You get
Yeah.
creative, you figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What's this next one? We've got what is the thing you each have to work on the most in your
Gina,
relationship?
stop. I'm supposed to ask you the question.
Oh, do you have them?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. Let's do that.
Do you love me? I just was like,
I love you.
no,
Whoa, no,
no.
no. I
I
want to
think
hear from you, Kelly.
I am like, I get to ask you. I'm like, and I actually reworded a few of them because
Oh,
um, I got, I think some of them are listed with a whole bunch of them. So I'm like, let's
hmm,
reword it just so it sounds a little bit better. But I love, can I say this
yeah,
for a
go for
second?
it. Go for it.
I love that there's three sections here in these questions. It's Rick, friends, and travel. So I love that there's a couple questions about each, and that is like your life, other than, I mean, your kids are with Rick too, but funny, people don't want to hear about your children. They only want to hear about your husband and your friends and your travel.
I did get asked last week. I answered, or last week, the last hot seat I did, I answered, did you have gender disappointment when I found out that Locke was a boy too? And I'm like, yeah. And it was interesting. I said, it's funny that Ryan laughed when he heard me read it out loud, and not in the way that he laughed like, yeah, maybe he did. Because we have boys, right? So men, of course, would never think they would have any kind of
Mm-mm,
gender disappointment.
mm-mm,
But without a girl for a girl, but if they
mm-hmm,
had all girls
mm-hmm.
and no boy, they would. They
They would have
have. They
the same.
do, you know?
Yes. You just want one like mini you.
Yeah.
I think everybody, I think that's just, yeah, you just don't get that sometimes. And,
Yeah. So it's not like I'm like, oh, boo hoo. But yeah, I did
but
have that moment of,
you have
dang,
to grieve it a little bit. Like, well, I
yeah.
don't have that. And because every mom and daughter has their like, oh, mommy daughter days. And that's funny that that's the only reason I think I care that I don't have girls is like, I would want my mom, the mom daughter days.
Well, and what
Other than
about
that,
like prom dresses and wedding dresses
yeah,
and
yeah,
having her giving birth to her
yeah,
babies and watching
yeah,
her be a mom?
right. Yeah, we don't have any of that.
No, we're going to have to really
No.
just pray for good daughters-in-law.
Yeah, I think we'll be good.
We'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you get what you get, and you have good friends then too. Because holy, yeah, yeah, we need each other, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We can understand each other. Okay, so the first question, I'm gonna restate it. So these are the Rick questions.
Oh, okay.
Are we going back to how do you and your husband make time for each other,
No,
or
I
what?
already answered that one.
That was your answer. You get creative, and
No,
you
that I
do.
answered it last time on the last hot seat.
Oh,
I
you
think,
answered that.
yeah, I think
Okay.
Mandy just didn't realize that one was on the last hot
Okay.
seat.
Next one. What is the thing you each have to work on the most in your relationship? Let's start with you. What do you
Oh, yeah.
have to
Sorry, I
work?
had a different thing in my head. Mine, the most, is being really, really intentional about letting him know how not thankful and grateful. I'm so thankful for you.
Mhm.
No, but like thanking him, right? Because
Yeah.
we do. Women, our jobs are so thankless all the time. All the time. Like we're just expected to do everything and we're
hmm
expected to do it with a smile on our face and do it well and and be
hmm
happy that we're allowed to do it, which is true. That is the thing.
hmm
But so for Rick to be financially secure enough for us, for Matt to be financially secure enough for you, that we
hmm
are able to stay home with our kids if we
hmm
choose to be, right?
hmm
And
Yep.
that I am thankful for that, but I need to do it. His love language is I need to do it more. I need to let him
hmm
know how thankful I am and grateful I am for him more often. He
hmm
needs words of affirmation. He needs words of affirmation. I don't think he thinks he does, but I think he definitely does.
I think every guy needs words of affirmation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think women so much. Yeah, I mean it's nice to get a compliment, but I think both of our men definitely need that. I think they're a lot more alike than they even know. But yeah, they words of affirmation for sure.
Well,
And
and it's
but
think about
when
it
you're
with your kids. Think about it with your boys.
yeah,
So you've got three
yeah.
boys. I've got three boys. Think about it with our boys. And if they do something, it's like, oh,
hmm
good job, good job, good job. I'm so proud of
hmm
you. Right.
hmm
So what
You do
kind
it
of
all
men
day.
are we creating?
Yeah, true.
Right. Which is good.
True.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah.
that's why is it okay for me to do it with my kids? I'm like doing
hmm
it with my kids, but I have to be so intentional to remember to do it with my husband.
Well,
He
because you're
needs
doing
that
it all
too.
day. You're doing it all day, and we put a high expectation on them,
Mm-hmm.
just because we trust them. That
Mm-hmm.
trust is already there. So then, yeah, it's. I think
And I
it's
think you just feel like that you assume that I assume he knows. I
yeah,
assume he knows. Just like
yeah.
he assumes or he thinks that I assume he loves me. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't ever kiss me or hug
Mm-hmm.
me, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I provide for you.
Yep.
Like he's like,
What
of
else do
course
I
I
have to do?
love you. Yeah, of course I love
Exactly.
you. I'm providing for you.
Yes. Yes.
Not
Yeah.
that he doesn't hug me and kiss me. That was just a point. He does
But
hug me
then
and
you get
kiss
into
me.
the whole love language thing too.
Yes,
Is
then you
like,
get into
how
that.
do you feel loved and all that? I mean, ugh, that's a whole nother podcast, right?
Yeah.
How do you think that Rick? Oh, what do you think that Rick has to work on the most in your relationship?
Oh, these are the ones that I said I'll have to have on with Rick because I can't answer for him.
You can't answer for him, no.
What I think he would think he has to work on the most?
Mm-hmm.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Exactly what we both need to work on being
Isn't
better.
that funny?
It
Yeah.
is, and it's probably because we both like I know I'm doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need him to be like, good job, Gina, but I
No.
do, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. You probably don't even want like a way to go. Ah, you did the dishes today.
No.
You just need, you know what? That was really awesome the way you did that podcast or the way
Right.
you spoke to them. You want a compliment and not even like a cheer section. Just like, oh, he does still think good of
You
me.
look hot today.
Yeah. And that is a compliment for
Yeah.
sure.
Not instead of, that's what you look like today.
Why are you wearing that? Is that the trend?
Oh my heck, you have me laughing and I feel like my face looks red because you have me laughing.
I can't tell because your screen is fuzzy. I
Oh.
won't make you laugh. Okay, I'll go to the next question. Okay, so should I not ask this one because it's about Rick, but what is your favorite thing about one another? So, what's your
Oh
favorite?
yeah, I already answered this. Mandy, dang it, Mandy. Dang it, Mandy.
Then let's
I
go to the
answered these.
friends section. We
Yeah.
didn't want to talk about Rick
Nah,
anymore.
we're good. He's good. We'll have a we'll have
Really?
a we'll have a Rick episode. Not like we already haven't had a Rick episode. We've already had one. He's
I
good.
think we talk about Rick all the time.
We
I
do.
pretend like I'm on the podcast every day talking about Rick. Okay, we're going to skip to friends. I love this part because I don't even know if you realize this, Gina, but like the girls, so I am in charge of the kiln, right? And the girls that come on the kiln, they want Gina. Mm, they want Gina and they want your opinion. They want to be your friend. They see things in you that they want in themselves and they see value in your life. And so they want to be your friend. So I think why these people ask these questions are I want to be like her. Let's hear what her mind thought or her mindset is about friends and what she thinks because however she's doing it, I want to do it. And they want to figure you out. So I love that they ask that because don't we all want to be a good friend and all want to be have friends and have the friends that are going to support us? It's not about the amount you have, right? It's the quality friendships and they see that in you. So this is us. I was excited there was questions on that because that's how I see it. So I reworded this one a bit, but it's did your age ah, that's a pregnancy one. Okay, we're gonna go to the friend one. Okay, so your friend groups, it says that they're changing. Are they changing? And it's kind of like a two-part question, I think it is. And then I think this is another question. Are your friend groups changing because everybody's done having kids? So then you've moved on to other levels or what is changing in your friend group?
Oh, I can answer that perfectly because even Rick and I were late to have kids. And so our friends all had kids way before us, which late was we were 25 when was that when we started having kids? 30. We were 30. We got married when we were 25. And we were 30 when we started having kids, which is normal around the world, right? That's normal. It's even still young, I guess. But everybody here in Utah starts having kids when they're 19, right? They get married
Yeah.
and they start having kids early. So yeah, all of our friends here had kids. So by the time we had Castle, their kids they were
They had
all at
10-year-old.
they were all at his first birthday party and they were age ranges from like 8 to
Wow.
3, because by then they had 3 kids. By the time we had our
Yep.
one, they had 3. So that
Yep.
has never really affected us as far as will I be your friend and are you going to be my solid friend group because of that? No. But where our problems started coming into place was our lifestyle. When we decided that we didn't want to be in the rat race, we didn't want to be on the hamster wheel, we didn't want to just live the same life every day over and over and over again, and we left and went and traveled. So when that happened, actually, surprisingly enough, the people who you think should have been cheering you on and supporting you became jealous, stopped following us, like, called Rick out on things that saying instead of this is amazing because he was proud of his accomplishments and what he's achieved, they called it bragging or that he was a narcissist, it was so interesting. And that happens with family members too. You
Yep.
think it shouldn't because they're your family, but it does. It happens with family too. So it's lifestyle and it's so because that's why Rick was so into me starting this community was, you've heard the story, because 2 years ago, he would have been one of those husbands that's like, you don't need that. Go to a library and get a book, or, go to a mommy and me group and make a friend. Like he wouldn't have understood this community, but because he had been introduced to the Order of Man Iron Council community, he had networked. Ryan invited him to that first hunt in Hawaii. Then from that, he went to your house, got to meet Matt, to that hunt, got to met Scott, met, Sean. So we
Colin.
met Colin, yes, who he's with right now, Colin. Because of that, it started this chain reaction of networking and meeting people who were in the same, and not even the same lifestyle per se, because we travel, but same mindset. So, I mean, Kelly and I, you guys, we've met in person probably 3 times.
3 times, I
3
think.
times.
Yeah.
And when we first met, we didn't even know each other. We hadn't met before. We've never talked. And it was like, oh, you're my bestie.
Hi.
Hey, we just, you find people. That's why communities like these are so amazing, is you can find someone on the other side of the world who is your instant bestie, knows you so well, because they are the same mindset. They are in the same place. They are in the same, so it doesn't have to do with your kids being the same age.
Not at all.
It's just, that helps, I guess, because we
Don't
can
you think,
commiserate.
would you say, like, if you're staying home, like in our small community, you're friends with people who your kids are like that same age, but your situation is so different. You're not at home all the time. So it's really hard to maintain those relationships, and your kids aren't building those friendships at school. They're building them outside in the whole world,
It's true.
And so that's not there either. And
my sister used to explain it to me like, you're friends with these people and they're so important to you right now. But then when your kids grow up and their friends become so important to them, you will be friends with their parents.
Yeah.
She used to tell me that. She would prep me for that. She'd say, it won't matter who your friends are. All that's going to matter is who your kids' friends are and who their parents are, because that's who you're going to be friends with. And I'm like, okay. So
yeah, it's interesting. It really is. And it's like, I think we've talked about this before, but 40 changes something, I think, too, and evaluating your life and where you're at and what your family needs. It's more like, right? Like what your family needs, not just what you as Gina needs. It's your family, what you've decided on as a group and a whole, and what like you said, your mindset and everything you're going for. It's family driven.
And some friendships won't work for that. Like if you're so, okay, here's a good example. So we had some friends and they had kids. We didn't have kids yet, but they had kids, and the kids would be around us hanging out while we were watching the game and having some beers and drinking some cocktails or whatever. And Rick and I we would have these adult conversations, but yet their friends would be in the room while we're having adult conversations. And we were like, this is not okay. This isn't how we want to raise our kids, right? So yes, when we did have kids, that would affect that. I wouldn't want my kids to be hanging out with those kinds of families. So yeah, I mean, that would have affected that if we were here long enough to be hanging out with people. Yeah, I definitely take that into consideration. Like,
but I love how your values are so family oriented, and then the rest of what you guys decide is off of that. It's like, we've been gone for a while. Yeah, we're not getting together with old friend groups or whatnot. And that's okay if you feel like you're growing, if you're growing and you're changing and doing like your part. It's not always easy, being gone or being set where I'm at, we're just put, and that's okay too. But, it's interesting, I think, as we age, but family oriented, I think for you, for sure. It's like, and I can't answer for you, but it's all driven by what your family goals are, and needs and all that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Okay. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. This gets to talk about your last pregnancy. Did your age worry you with your last pregnancy? So.
Oh my gosh. It didn't worry me at all. It worried Rick a lot. And especially now I tell him I want another one. And he's like, good grief. When is Guinness going to be knocking on our door?
Because how old were you with Locke when you had him?
40. Well, so no, That's not true. How old am I?
You're 40. So, oh my gosh, there's a deer at my window. You're 30, you were 38.
I was
Why do I think
38.
I
Yeah,
know?
I was
Because
38.
I was not even in your life then.
I don't know
But
how old I am.
they
I will
say
tell
you're
you
a
a funny story.
geriatric,
Yeah,
right?
I was geriatric. And so
At
Rick,
38, that's
which is so
geriatric.
silly, but and I would tell Rick, I'd say technology and medicine is so much more advanced now, and he's like, but your body's not. He's like, your body. He
I
was
don't know.
more worried about it than me, and which actually is ironic because I wholeheartedly believe that this pregnancy was a C-section and so hard because I was older, and I don't know that, but
Mm-hmm.
I think my OB said that your body forgets after 5 years. It's like it thinks that
Interesting.
it's not going to have babies anymore. Like your first
Doesn't
baby,
bounce
it's kind of
back.
hard, it's like your body
Yeah.
has to figure out what you're doing. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second one's usually easier. And then the third one's usually easier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one, I had a 5 year gap in between, and he says
Yeah,
5 or 6. And he says, yeah, sometimes the body forgets. And it did, man.
that's true.
She forgot. She forgot. Everything about Locke's pregnancy was harder. I
Oh,
had morning sickness, and it was fine. It was great, but
yeah.
it was the most random thing happened like at 12 weeks. And I remember it was so weird because we were in quarantine up at the cabin. And so I took my first picture, my bump picture at 12 weeks. Do we know? I have the picture. I will show you when I get to
And you
Minnesota.
looked
And
like you were
it's
20 weeks, probably.
no, I looked like I had like ripped abs, like nothing there. Like I'm,
Oh,
I'm like so skinny, and I'm
sorry.
all, hey, brr, 12 weeks, look at the bump, Like, no,
Yeah.
nothing there. And then the next day, 24 hours later, I had a basketball there.
Uh,
Like Locke had something about something happened
he
and
was
it pinched.
positioned.
He positioned and
Yeah.
it pinched my bladder, and I could
Oh,
not use the restroom. I could not. It was the most
oh my God.
painful. And by the time I got to the emergency room and they finally drained it,
Oh my
it was a
God.
basketball. I have a picture
Yeah.
and it looks like a basketball. So if you can
That's
imagine
so
going from
painful.
nothing to
No,
having a basketball in your stomach, it was
no.
ridiculous. So the weirdest things
Crazy.
happened with that pregnancy.
It does. Yeah.
Super weird.
Well, and then so the other part of the question was asking about your energy. Were you worried about that? Do you feel like that's the hardest part was the
Do you
energy?
know what I kept just focusing on is Joanna Gaines. This is so funny, but Joanna Gaines
Hmm.
had just gotten done having not
Crew.
even her first baby, but then the next
Oh,
one. It was the
yeah.
next one, I think. I don't know. It may have been the
Yeah.
one, but it may have been the next one. And she's like, I've never had more energy. And I'm like, if she can do it, so can I. So I was
Right.
super like, if Joanna can do it, so can this girl. Like, right? And so it gave me that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that. And which sucks because after anybody who's had a C-section knows it's like, and we're out.
Uh-huh.
I created a little island in my bed that we never left. Locke and I never left.
Yeah.
I mean, postpartum kicked in.
It's
Locke and I
awful.
we never left the room. I couldn't move. I didn't
Yeah.
want to move. I didn't care. All I wanted to do was lay in bed, nurse this baby, snuggle him, love him, cuddle him, and anything outside of those doors be damned.
It did not matter. I
It did
know.
not matter.
They're so hard. Well, you're having, I mean, they cut your whole abdomen open, and so
Oh
you have
yeah,
to
that
take care
was
of a baby
unpleasant.
after like a major surgery. And there's nothing more painful than the abdomen. Nothing.
And you
And
can't do anything. Your mind
no,
says you can, but you
no.
can't. Absolutely not. Like I
Yeah.
remember, oh my gosh, I remember just going to the store. I have a picture of it. I actually documented it specifically because I know that this is going to be one of those moments that I look back on and I'm like, why was that so hard? But just to
Yeah.
get out of the house. And I thought to myself, if I don't do this right now, I'm going to be trapped. It's going to
Hmm.
become something that I can't do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know that I need to get this baby in a stroller, in a car seat, in a stroller. I have to be able to do that. I have the
Yeah.
3 kids now. I have to be able to do this. So I was wearing my little always unders, that were amazing. Oh my gosh, ladies. Holy cow. Thank
Always
you
under.
always for making those depends basically for women, but
They're like the pull up,
they
right?
are. They're so comfortable, especially
Elastic.
with a C-section scar.
Oh,
I swear, if I could keep wearing those, I would. I guess I
well,
could. Nothing's
go
stopping me.
for it,
Go
girl.
for it. But so I put on just like some joggers and,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. I had probably gross hair. I put on a hat and I just put on what I thought was as cute as I could do, you know,
Yeah.
and went to Kohl's. I don't
Yeah.
think I even had a reason to go,
No.
but I think I just did and took a picture there and thought, and I have it. I'll have to post it, but it was, this is our first outing and it was hard.
Yeah.
And that is not me.
Yeah.
So
No.
to even explain what postpartum depression is to anybody, forget it. You could have tried to explain it to me and all I would have instantly thought was you're wanting to harm your baby or you're crying all the time.
It's easy to judge that. Yeah. Like get up and do
And that
something.
wasn't me at all. Mine was
No.
just, I can't
No.
do anything. And
Yeah.
then even further than that, my friend sent me an ab challenge, which I'm sure I've talked about this before. She sent me an ab challenge and she's like, you're ready to do it. You can do this, you know? And I'm like, okay. And going from someone who's very physically fit, like I can do this. You're right. Okay. It's time. Let's start doing this. And even though I could walk and be active, fine, I didn't realize. So I laid down and it was the one where you lay down and you just lift your legs, you know,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
And I could not,
Couldn't do it.
couldn't.
Yeah.
But my mind was like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. What are you talking about? You
Come
do these.
on.
This is like
Yeah.
the easiest of the abs you could do. Like I didn't even get any further. Like how much harder did they get? It was the easiest one. Oh, and so I just laid there and cried. And I was sobbing. I laid there and cried. I think I did a story about it because I remember thinking same thing. I remember thinking, I need to remember this. I need to remember this moment because this is one of those moments where something seems impossible, impossible. And later on, it will seem so silly, right?
I love that you could think that in the midst of something that was you didn't see the end to that. You're like, I don't know when I'm going to get back. But that is who you are too, though. It's the little habits, little things that you do, and you refuse to give up. You are down for a day and you are right back up. So, you know, that was probably a little bit longer, but you knew that you had boys to take care of and you want to get back to yourself. And thinking you were 38 at that time, it's like it's against you. So you're like going to prove it to everybody that, you know, I'll be back like Joanna Gaines and I'm going to be back. I'm not going to be the old mom. And so that is so hard. And it is feel like it's against you when it is your age because you can't change it. So, okay. I have 2 more questions for you and I want to make sure we get to them. So these ones are about travel.
Yay.
Packing tips.
Oh my gosh. Packing tips are so specific to where you're going or what you're doing. I feel so bad for Rick because he's huge, you know, he's 6'5". So he
Yes,
luckily,
my car.
well, and luckily before you guys knew him, he never wore those pants that Matt makes fun of him for wearing all the time. Like he never wore like joggers, right?
No.
He would wear jeans. So he would pack jeans. So if you look at all the pictures of us in Europe and Australia and everywhere that was pre-joggers,
Yeah.
he would have to pack big things, right? So so one of our tips is, oh my gosh, you guys go back to the travel tip to the core episode I recorded a couple weeks ago because travel's so different now and it's post-COVID and it has nothing to do with COVID, but it has to do with the fact that so many people were laid off and so many people or they just won't come back or whatever, for whatever reason. The whole industry is so understaffed that you are going to be missing flights left and right. You are going to have bags lost. They just lost Rick and Kendall's guns. They just went to Texas. It was
I just listened to you say that, Anna.
Oh my gosh.
I'm dying.
It was a direct flight. It wasn't even it
So
was
they
a
just
direct
didn't get it
flight.
at
They
port.
just didn't put the guns on the airplane.
Yeah.
Guns.
You can't
Not
even,
even luggage. And
no.
they can't even, they're 3.5 hours away from the airport. So
Yeah.
they can't even stay or they can't even go because they
Hmm.
can't deliver them like a bag. You can't deliver them like a luggage.
Right.
It's a gun. So
It's a
you have
locked.
to come pick it
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
So they actually ended up going to Walmart. I'm like, just go and buy a new
Good.
gun.
Yeah.
Like, go, do not let this stop you. But it puts you in such a position that you are completely put out, right?
Yep.
This
Hmm.
hunt that's thousands of dollars a day or
Hmm.
whatever. It's my
Hmm.
son's very first hunt.
I
It's,
know.
it puts you out to no end and they
Yeah.
don't care.
No,
No one cares.
it doesn't
No one
affect their
cares.
day. No,
Doesn't
but
affect
people
anybody
aren't being
else.
held accountable for
No,
their work anymore
exactly. And there's
either. So,
nobody there. They're
yeah.
understaffed. So they're just doing the
Well,
best they can do
and
too.
you lost your stroller too. So it's like, this person who asked this question about packing, how do you pack all your clothes and all your toys? You could almost say, hardly pack anything.
Yeah,
You
we don't
can
pack
buy it where
anything.
you're at. And that is the first thing you told me in Alaska. You're like, you can buy something if I think you guys say too, like, we'll wear our sweatshirts out on your little US trip. But once it wears out, we'll just get a new one because
Yeah.
that's easier than worrying about packing bulky clothes or what you're going to need for the time or the season and losing
Well,
your things.
and the
But
hardest thing for me was, and that was Australia. We had that actually happen because we went from seasons there
yeah,
and it got really, really cold, but we didn't expect it to. We went from really, really warm and nice, beachy, whatever, down into seasons where it was really, really, really cold. And
yeah.
so we did have to go buy stuff there. We went to our very first like indoor football game, soccer, football
Yeah.
game, and we were freezing. We had these little like gloves that Rick went to just whatever store he could find, and, and we were all just like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cold." But anyway, the point of pack is we all feel like we need so much stuff, right? You have to get out of the mindset that you need 3 swimsuits, that you need
Mm-hmm.
pajamas. Okay, my kids sleep in their underwear. We don't pack
Yep.
pajamas. That's silly. But I remember a girl saying that, a travel family saying that we just don't pack pajamas. And I'm like, well, that's gross and weird. But it's true. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need pajamas. You can wear
Yeah. Or
underwear or
like
you
when
can
you
wear,
go on a beach trip, I used to bring 5 dresses,
oh,
one for
yeah.
every night. Well, there's other ways to go around. Or 5 pairs of shoes. No,
Yes.
no.
You don't need
Be
it.
smart about it. No, but you're so good about it. Because I remember asking you with Alaska, I said, what are you bringing? You're like, um, you showed me your suitcase, and I was like, and we still end up bringing like one big one for like the 4 of us. But I've
You did
learned
good.
like I can carry on. I can buy something at Walmart or the grocery store or
Well, and
whatnot.
there's a washing machine. You can wash it.
Yes,
You can, I think
that helps a
people
lot.
also have a hard time, like people like us, that it's like, I can't wear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
But now you know me, you saw me in Costa Rica. I
yeah.
literally don't peel those clothes. I have to
No,
peel the clothes off my body because
yeah.
I've
I think
worn
you
them for
slept
so
in your
long. Oh
swimsuit
yeah.
all week.
Oh,
No,
I sleep in an outfit and get
yeah,
up and wear it the next day. Like
it's
Ryan and
awesome.
Trish, we go to breakfast and these people that are so used to getting ready and being like totally put together, and we just kind of roll out of bed and just walk to wherever we're
No,
going.
you're like, hey, they don't care. It's vacation mode, and
That
you
was a
look
good time.
beautiful. No, you're good. Okay, I have one more question for you, and I
Okay.
love this one for closing out this. But of all the places you have visited, which would you recommend the most,
Oh,
and
it's a
why?
horrible question. It's a
The
horrible question.
most. One. How about one country? You've been to like 30, 40 countries or something like that
Yeah, it's a horrible question. No, okay, for me, it's
for
very
you.
specific. So that's why that's a loaded question. Everybody asks it. It's literally probably the first question everybody asks, what's your favorite place? And it's different for all of us. My kids will say Australia because they love that they speak English. It feels like America. And there's critters everywhere, and most everything is trying to kill you. So my
Ha.
kids who love the snakes and the lizards and all the things, and they love the Australia Zoo, and they love everything to do with animals, critters, whatever. So they love Australia, and I love Australia too. But for me, I love Europe, and probably like some of the places that were just shockingly amazing to me were things that I'd never even thought about going to, like Hungary, Budapest, like
Really?
is stunning and has
Huh.
the best food. And I just love the old timey type stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
But I love Europe. You cannot really go wrong in Europe for me, in my opinion.
So cool. I've always said I don't need to go to Europe, but I think I need to go to Europe now.
Yeah, you do.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to think about it.
It is, but also, like, we don't do Paris. I mean, we do, and I love Paris. So I actually, the first time we went, I wrote a thing that was like 5 cities in France that you should love more than Paris. And it was the smaller ones, you know, that are less, like Chartres and Beaune. I can't say them as well, but you know, these little towns that are just these gems.
Yeah.
And so, yes, if you're going with little kids and you're going to Barcelona, you're going to be overwhelmed because, oh man, that's like taking toddlers to New York City. That's like taking them to LA. It's overwhelming. It's a big city.
I don't care what kind of picture you take there. It's not going to be worth the vacation. But,
so if you change your perspective into, okay, yes, I want to go to Paris, but we're not going to go to the Louvre, right? Yeah. We're not going to go and take my 2-year-old into somewhere with priceless paintings.
Right. No.
We're going to go to a park. We're going to go find the carousel. We're going to go find, you know, it's just a different experience.
Yep.
So someday I will go to the Louvre and enjoy it the way that I want to enjoy it.
Yep.
It's not going to be with my kids.
No.
Some people take their kids in, but I don't want to do that. I don't want that experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would rather experience things like hiking on trails with them in Germany. Germany was like, oh my gosh, Hayes, because he was Locke's age. Hayes would find all of these like banana slugs, and he would find so many creepy crawly things, and it was so cool. It was really cool. And that was a different perspective, right? That was a totally different way to experience Germany than, I don't know, going to the vineyards or going to, you know, we still did the castles and we still did stuff, but you just have to put your perspectives in different places. So
well, and I think people now with social media want like the picturesque, like they want to travel for just the picture, but I mean, really, you know, so your videos, I've seen videos with your slugs and the smiles on the faces of your kids, you know, someday you can tell them like, you guys love this, look at this. And that's greater than a picture in front of the Eiffel Tower, I would think too. So it's like who you're traveling with and who you're with and, you know.
Oh, you guys know that. We love the friends that we take with us. We get to share the experiences with, make memories with.
You guys are so good about it. Oh, you guys are so good about it. So we're so lucky.
Yeah, you're lucky to be our friends. Aren't you lucky? Aren't you lucky?
I am. I'm so lucky. So you're awesome. It's fun to do this with you. I like this.
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. We'll see if everybody loves it. I don't have to
talk about myself, so that's even better.
You should talk about yourself.
Heck no.
No.
Heck no. Okay. So.
Well, thanks, lady.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you helping me out with that. The last one I did, I was like, oh, this is no fun. I don't want to sit here and have to talk about myself by myself. And that's, I reached out to Kelly and Trish and said, you guys are doing this with me. That's why you're so glad to be my friend.
I am, because I get to talk to you about, but yeah, I mean, I'm learning stuff about you too, because I've actually never asked you about your favorite place that you've traveled, you know? So I'm learning too. And I love that. So it's really fun.
Yeah, that question, if anybody wants to know where to go and why, it's very specific, and the reasons for it are why. And the packing tips are very specific and why. It's like, oh, Český Krumlov, that's actually really cool. That's a close second to Prague. So cool. Ugh. So cool. And it's not as crowded as Prague. Prague is so crowded. But anyway, but there's things to consider, like packing. You have to think about what stroller you take, because Europe, on the one hand, is very cobblestoney, so you want your 4-wheel drive one. But on the other hand, there's lots of steps. Like if you're going to Monaco, the whole entire country is stairs down to the beach. So you have to have a stroller that is a backpack, basically. The one that got lost just now. Yes.
Yes.
My yo-yo.
We're still bitter about that, aren't we?
Very bitter. Yeah, very bitter.
Just travel.
But just reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions specifically.
That's awesome. I love it. No, I would love to do the next one with you. It's very fun. So I do have to go get my children.
Yep, we do. It's time. It's that time for both of us.
But I
Thanks,
don't want to
lady.
stop because I get to see your face. So,
I
okay.
know.
Thanks for being so awesome. And thanks for sharing your life with everybody. You're
Oh,
amazing.
you're so good. Cheerleader Kelly.
You're the best.
Thanks, girl. I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.